Hello, hello. My name is Gabriela Enriquez. I am the Vice President of the Women's Chamber of Commerce and the CEO and founder of Global Edge Partners. I am so happy because I'm here joined today with Walkiria Castillo Gilbert. She's the co-founder of Alpha Loans, and we're just going to dive into it and get to know you a little bit better. How are you, Walkiria?
Well, I'm doing well, Gabby. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm doing well.
Good. Let's dive into it. So we're going to talk about the business and everything because I think it's so essential for a lot of small businesses to really understand what options they have, qualifications, and all the things when it comes to business loans. But let's get to know you a little bit better. Tell us a little bit about your background, your story, and how you got into this business.
Sure, absolutely. So I am Afro-Latina. I was born in the Dominican Republic and came here when I was about 3 years old. And I'm in a very unique space because growing up, teaching my parents English, now co-founder of My Alpha Loans, right, where we provide working capital for business owners. It's a very unique space, number one, because it's a very male-dominated space.
Yeah.
And as you know, women in finance is about like 8% of women as a whole. And then to be Afro-Latina, that just shrinks the numbers down to like under 3%. And so, coming from, La República Dominicana to the United States as primarily just speaking, a Spanish speaker, it's had its challenges in school, and in the corporate sector, as a Black woman. But I'm very happy to say that, I've come here and living the American dream as an entrepreneur.
That's amazing. Yeah. So, I was born here and raised here, but my parents were from another country, right? From Latin America. And so obviously I did have to do a lot of the translation as well. From my perspective, it kind of makes you grow up faster because you're so embedded in their real world and day to day because you're translating everything from like doctor's appointments to business, to whatever is going on is happening. So you're very much aware.
Yes.
Unlike my kids today, they don't know what's going on with like mortgage or race or business or things like that, right? I was very much aware of all of these things. How do you think that kind of affected you in what you do today?
No, absolutely. I agree with you. It does give you a certain level of competency and consistency, discipline. It kind of builds your character when you're like coming home from elementary school, teaching your parents the ABCs and the numbers, and you're kind of being the teacher at a very young age. It positions you to kind of be a leader from a baby.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's a good thing. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Being Hispanic in the United States is, I don't know. I feel like, let me rephrase that. In Florida, in South Florida, right? Because I grew up in South Florida. I don't know that it's like that everywhere in the United States, but in South Florida, it's just been a wonderful experience. It has pushed me to become stronger. A stronger parent. I have an 18-year-old. And so it has taught me how to be resilient. It has taught me how to build another baby or teach another child.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's amazing. And I agree with you because obviously in South Florida, I did move out of South Florida. I lived, in other places in North Carolina, which was completely different. And I was exposed to different cultures. But that kind of is what exposed me to where do I fit? Where do I kind of fit in and who am I? And, bringing back my culture. But then again, I'm American, right? And so it's kind of like finding my groove. But I feel like that in itself played a big part in my corporate structure, in the way that I move within business and the way that I empathize with so many different cultures and so many different upbringings and sort of surroundings. How do you think that kind of affects your day-to-day with all your clients? Because it is South Florida, so it is very diverse.
Yeah, it is very diverse. I love that aspect of South Florida. I think being a Spanish speaker. I actually speak a little bit of Creole as well. Actually, in high school, my very good friend and I, we exchanged languages. And so I taught her Spanish, she taught me Creole. And so it's always fun and it's always a good icebreaker when you're in business and you can speak multiple languages, and people, it breaks that barrier, and it builds a level of trust when you're speaking to someone who may not speak English, and they see you and you're speaking in Spanish, and they feel more comfortable in the message that you're bringing forth. So it does help me a lot in my business. And even if it's just a joke in Creole, like I may not know all the words, but I can share a little bit of humor in their language, and it just breaks so many barriers, and it builds a trust, it builds trust with the business owner. So yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're going to have to brush up a little bit because I know a little bit. I know the bad stuff. I just know the bad stuff you don't want to repeat is what I know in Creole. So we'll have to kind of like practice a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. So how did you get involved? How did you, start Alpha Loans? And did you do something in finance or something like that before you got started?
Actually, no. My major is in psychology. Okay. And I had a very good friend who, right out of college, she started working for this private equity firm. She invited me over, and I went because, we're out of college, we got to work.
Yeah.
And so I got involved with them there as the front desk. And like within 3 months, I was doing like processing. And then within the next 3 months, I was doing sales. And then after that, I just, was a top producer in the company. And actually, I worked in the retention department, which means that everyone who says no goes to our department, and we have to kind of
you have to save it.
We got to save that deal.
Yeah.
And so it was a very niche based business in that we were providing financing and capital to healthcare professionals. And so my business partner, Edmund Lewis, and I, we actually founded the business together back in 2016. And we created it out of a need for really what we wanted to do is provide capital for other industries. So not just the healthcare industries. And, we had to kind of create it ourselves. And that's what we did. We created the business and we focused on just getting it up and going. And it came out of a need for, when you're working for corporate America, there's a ceiling. And so, we're go-getters. We want to make more money. We want to, live the American dream. And so that coupled with, a product that, was needed in the community, we just started the business. And the rest is history, really.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what kind of businesses, because you don't necessarily cater to a specific industry, you kind of really focus on a lot, but what kind of client would be like your ideal clients, or who do you usually, cater to?
Yeah. So actually the type of loans that we do, just to kind of give you some insight, is we do your traditional loans like SBA term loans, which is what everyone's familiar with. And really our niche base is really a revenue base, which is structured around the cash flow of the business, really the health of the business, like cash flow. And so really we serve all businesses, trucking, salons, mom and pop shops, healthcare professionals, whether as long as you've been 1 year in business,
okay,
as long as your cash is flowing, as long as I think there's like maybe like 3 prohibited industries really in our market, which is, I don't want to say it here, but
okay,
there's just 3 prohibited industries, really.
Right. Okay.
So we can provide capital for any industry, really.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay, good.
I don't know if that answers your question.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's kind of break down, because I know that obviously when it comes to even business owner to business owner, we always talk about capital and growth and scaling and all these different things, right? SBA loans. But let's kind of break it down a little bit more for those that don't really understand the requirements, qualifications, or details about an SBA loan and how you assist.
So SBA loans are really for your prime borrowers, people with the high credit scores, anything over 650. right? People that have been in business and can show their tax returns for the last 3 years. So the requirements have become very strict after post-COVID. And so you have to be making upwards of $250,000. And you, again, have to have been in business for at least 4 years.
Yeah.
Really.
Okay.
And so that's an SBA loan. It's structured to be paid monthly and it has a low interest rate. And so a lot of people want this because their mindset is fixated around this interest rate.
Right.
And so they think that they're doing a good service to themselves by getting a low interest rate, which in truth, depending on your specific goal as a business owner, it may. Right. But if you're someone who's trying to receive money now and then get out of it like in the next 2 years, it may not be, because there are things like prepayment penalties that are associated with a loan like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then what other options would you have for then a business that perhaps has been around for 2 years or a year?
So a revenue-based loan, right? Really what the lender or the underwriter is concerned with is your ability to pay them back.
Right.
And so what they want to look at is your bank statements. They want to see how the cash is flowing. They want to see how you're managing your money from the day to day, the week to week, on a monthly basis. And so they're not heavily focused on your credit score or the time in business. It has to be a year because they want to know that you've done this, that you were successful, right? At least. But for the most part, it's quick cash. You're able to get it fairly quickly within like 2 to 3 days. It can be in your bank account. And they're short-term loans. And the issue, well, I wouldn't call it an issue. I think for the borrower, sometimes they have it's challenging for them to understand that it's not structured to be paid on a monthly basis. It's structured to be paid on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. So you have these investors that are giving you their money, right?
Right.
And you're more than likely, you're probably at higher risk. And so they want to receiving a little bit of return of their investment, right? So just to build that relationship with the borrower.
Yeah.
And so most borrowers, they can't wrap their head around the idea of paying a loan on a weekly or bi-weekly.
Right.
But in fact, it's actually a much it's a cheaper cost for the capital.
Yeah.
When compared to a traditional loan.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Out of pocket, it's much cheaper.
Okay. Yeah, because one would then think, okay, well, I'm getting this loan, but then I'm going to feel this pressure, this like high stress to have to pay this interest, or that, it's not an interest per se, but this high amount on a weekly basis. Yeah.
Well, you know what? At the end of the day, as entrepreneurs, we have to make smart decisions for our businesses.
Right.
And I think that where we stand out at Alpha Loans is that we do business with integrity. We're transparent about what product you're receiving and how much you're going to have to pay. It's always in black and white. You're always going to know up front how much you're paying for the money. So you just have to make the right decision to pay back the loan and be disciplined to stay on board as far as like your payments. You know what I mean? It is a little nerve-wracking when you're going into a different type of loan. However, I feel that for me, one of the things that motivates me is impact, right?
Yeah.
Just overall, whether in the community, whether in my job, whether at home with the family, and being part of my Alpha Loans has given me a certain level of like gratefulness, because I get to see people who were on the verge of losing their business, right? And because of a loan of this structure, they were able to get a quick infusion of capital,
right?
Pay their employees and continue their business until the next cycle, where then they were able to acquire the funding that they needed to continue.
Right.
So you have to just be very strategic. And I think that that's what we do best. We have a conversation. We explain to you, what it is that you're getting yourself into, and how do we work ourselves in getting ourselves into a more traditional type of loan, like a term loan where you're paying monthly.
Okay.
So
you do.
I know that's a lot, but
yeah, you do give them that advisory though, and so that definitely sets you apart, because a lot of loan organizations just kind of are quick in giving you that cash, you know, and get you into these terms. And if you're not really making the right financial decision for your business, you can actually hurt yourself more. So it's great that you're giving that advice and you're kind of guiding them through their options and explaining a lot of things that people wouldn't otherwise know.
Yeah, I think transparency, it's key. Yeah. And I think, you know, with fintech and like, you know, everything that's going on right now, everybody's putting all their information in the computer. Yeah. You're not speaking to a person. And so it's a little nerve-wracking, you know, when you're doing that. Yeah. So, you know, we're here to talk to you, explain the process to you from A to Z. Yeah. So, yeah.
And where do you kind of see yourself getting a lot more clients, or what are they trying to achieve? Is it capital and growth because they want to grow? Is it debt consolidation? What is most common?
To be honest with you, it's the entire spectrum. It's from, you know, paying their employees, purchase, you know, merchandise. They need merchandise for e-commerce. You know, they need merchandise to sell to their clients. Some people, you know, they just want to purchase a building. You know, some people want to purchase a building. Some want to hire employees. Some of them are growing so quickly that they're like, oh my gosh, where am I going to get this money from? Yeah. And I personally don't think it's smart to use your own personal money to invest in your business. So I think you should borrow the money. Yeah. And pay it back. But really it spans from, you know, payroll to property acquisition and everything in between. Yeah.
Okay. So if there were someone that perhaps a woman, right, in our chamber or just kind of in South Florida or anything watching, and they want to start a business such as this, and maybe they have a finance degree, maybe they don't, like what would you recommend they do to kind of get started or start research to look to see if this is something they can do?
Well, in this technology, you know, era that we're in right now, I think that the internet provides a lot of information, but on a more personal level, I would say know your worth. Yeah. Know your value, right? Network. Network and position yourself as a leader in the community. And don't give up on yourself, right? Like if you are well, don't give up on yourself. There's so much that can go into that, right? That is your team. Yeah. That is the people that you surround yourself with. And so I do want to say this, like, a lot of people don't believe in partnerships. I believe in partnerships. I think it's a key component of being a successful business owner, because it allows you certain freedoms that if you were just a sole proprietor, that you wouldn't have. Yeah. So, you know, surround yourself around people who are positive, surround yourself up with people that want to see you win, and show up to the things that you need to show up to, network, and know your value. Yeah. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And surround yourself with people that are smarter than you is like a big one for me, because I always want to learn and just kind of absorb. And so anybody that can give me any insight or any sort of, you know, pointers, I'm all for it. I'm all ears.
Yeah. I think, you know, I was thinking about this in the car. I'm like, I'm so thankful that I have a partner, because listen, I love my freedom to be able to like take off and get on a plane and go visit my family in the Dominican Republic. And, you know, I know a lot of people talk against partnerships, but really you just have to be smart. Like you said, you have to find someone that's smarter than you or on your level. Yeah. You know, someone who is as eagerly interested in the business, someone with integrity, someone you can trust. And really, because the ultimate goal of entrepreneurship really, I think, is to create the same version of you and multiply that version, so that you're free and able to, you know, scale and be able to have freedom with your time. And so I think partnership is a very key element that you should have as a startup, like a startup business.
It's hard. It's tough. I mean, I had some, you know, conflicts with that one. It's hard, but so what would you say that is key when it comes to having a partner, right, in business, or maybe considering to add on a partner? What would be like the attributes or maybe like soft skills that complement you in Edmond?
Well, for our particular business,
Yeah.
I think that I'm very analytical, and he's more of a visionary. And so, for example, when he's seeing like, hey, we're going to go buy that building right there, I'm like, hey, like, let's look at the bank statements and let's make sure 7 years down the line, we have X amount of. So I think it's going to be different for everybody. But I think for me, the most important thing is someone that you can trust with your money.
For sure.
Someone that you can trust with your money, because at the end of the day, we're in business to make money, to impact in other ways, right? But, someone you can trust.
I love it. Yeah. Well, I think we learned a lot because, I mean, we're learning that you're from the DR. Habla español.
Hablo español, mi primer lenguaje.
Look at that. So definitely amazing for South Florida with our diverse culture. You're helping the community, helping a lot of businesses really with education and be able to grow and fulfill this legacy, this dream that they have, for the American dream. If folks want to work with Alpha Loans, right? Because I know that you guys have affiliate programs and things like that and partnerships. How can, what would be a good resource or way to connect with you on that option?
Yeah, so they can visit us on our website at myalphaloans.com, and you can sign up under the partner portal. And once you're in there, we're going to vet you and make sure that everything checks out, make sure, little background check and all that jazz. And from there, you can have a conversation with one of our senior account executives that tells you the process on submitting files. Really, for partnership, what we are looking for right now in terms of that aspect, we're partnering with banks, CPAs, people that are in the finance community who have access to individuals who are in need of capital. And we also have a turnkey model where you can you can refer your clients and we will take it over. All you have to do is send over their name, phone number, and email, or just have them go to our website and input your name, and we will take over from there. And we will contact you with regards to the partnership spread or whatever.
I love that. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to plug in all the information in because obviously we support, and you're a longtime member of the Women's Chamber of Commerce. So obviously we want to continue to blast you and amplify your business and see it thrive. Huge supporter of what it is that you're doing. And so final thoughts. Leave us with final thoughts as far as a woman in business, in loans, mother, wife. What would you want to leave another woman with as advice from you?
My two big things is impact and integrity. I think that when you're doing things in life with integrity, I think that the universe has a very beautiful way of reciprocating that and keeping you safe in safe spaces among safe people. And so once you're, leading with integrity, I think everything that follows is going to be impactful for you, for your community. And that's what I have to say about it. Yeah.
Amazing. I love it. I mean, that's one of my values. So it's huge. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. This has been really fun. I can't wait to have you back and just learn a little bit more about the progress and where you guys are, what you're doing. So thank you so much for being here.
This has been wonderful. Thank you, Gabby.